The detention bay of the Krill warship hummed with the sound of failing life support systems. Mana sat cross-legged on the cold metal floor, her combat suit torn at the shoulder revealing a nasty burn from a plasma rifle. Across from her, Moscow leaned against the energy barrier, his jaw clenched as he assessed their situation for the 100th time. "We're not getting out of this one," he said quietly. Mana glanced up at him, her dark eyes reflecting the pulsing red lights of the barrier. "You said that on Proxima 7, and on the orbital station at Kepler 442. This is different." Moscow gestured at the corridor beyond their cell, where Krill warriors patrolled in their insectoid armor. "That's Commander Zarkesh himself. He doesn't take prisoners, he collects trophies." As if summoned by his name, the massive form of Zarkesh appeared in the corridor. The Krill commander stood nearly 8 feet tall, his exoskeleton decorated with the emblems of 1,000 victories. Behind his transparent face shield, compound eyes glittered with predatory intelligence. "Humans," he said, his translator rendering his clicking speech into something approximating contempt. "You understand you will die here." Moscow pushed himself upright, meeting the alien's gaze. "We've heard that before." Zarkesh's mandibles twitched in what might have been amusement. "I have killed hundreds like you. Your species' stubbornness is predictable. You fight, you struggle, you die." Mauna rose to her feet, rolling her injured shoulder. A smile played at the corners of her mouth, the kind of smile that Moscow had learned to associate with extremely dangerous ideas. "Then you've been practicing for me." "She," said the Krill commander, tilted his head, studying her. "You believe you are different from the others?" "No," Mona said, walking closer to the barrier until its energy field crackled against her skin. "I believe they were all practice for what humanity is becoming. You killed hundreds? They taught us hundreds of ways not to die." Moscow suppressed a grin. He'd served with Mana for 3 years, and he recognized the shift in her posture. She wasn't preparing to escape. She was preparing to win. Zarkesh's mandibles spread wider. "Entertaining. Your confidence will make your death more satisfying." He turned to leave, but Mana's voice stopped him. "Tell me, Commander, when you killed those hundreds, did any of them have a quantum destabilizer implanted in their third vertebra?" The corridor went silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. Moscow's eyes widened slightly. The implant was supposed to be a final resort, a way to take out high-value targets if captured. But activating it meant suicide weapons, Zarkesh said, his tone suddenly wary. "Your kind's last desperate gesture." "Not suicide," Mana corrected. "Insurance. See, the thing about humans that you clearly haven't learned from your hundreds of kills. We don't think about just winning today. We think about everyone who comes after us." She tapped the back of her neck. "This implant has been scanning your ship's power distribution, structural weak points, and crew positions for the last 2 hours. When I activate it, it won't just kill me. It'll create a quantum cascade that will tear through your primary reactor and decompress 17 decks." Moscow understood now. She wasn't bluffing. The implant could do exactly what she described. But more importantly, she was gambling that Zarkesh's confidence was built on fighting humans who were trying to survive, not humans who had already accepted their deaths. The Krill commander's warriors raised their weapons, but he held up a clawed hand. "You would kill your companion as well?" "Moscow?" Mauna glanced back at her partner. "He's already made peace with it." "Haven't you?" Moscow nodded slowly. 317 crew members on this ship," he said, picking up her thread. "Tactical value, destroying the flagship of the 7th Fleet. Strategic value, showing every other Krill commander that humans aren't prey, we're poison." For the first time, Zarkesh's confidence seemed to waver. "What do you want?" "Funny question from someone who was just gloating about killing hundreds of us," Mana said. "What do I want?" "I want you to understand something. Every human you killed taught our species something. They taught us your tactics, your weaknesses, your patterns. They paid for that knowledge with their lives, and we honor them by using it." She took a deep breath. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to lower this barrier. You're going to give us access to an escape pod, and you're going to let us go. Or I activate the implant and you become a cautionary tale instead of a legend." "Your choice, Commander." The silence stretched for nearly a full minute. Moscow could see the calculations running behind Zarkesh's compound eyes, weighing his reputation against the tactical reality of losing his flagship. Finally, The Krill commander's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of deep agitation. You would truly do this. I'm human, Mana said simply. We're all crazy enough to die if it means the next generation lives. That's what your hundreds didn't teach you. It's not that we're hard to kill, it's that killing us makes us stronger as a species. Jarakesh stared at her for another moment, then gestured sharply to his warriors. The energy barrier flickered and died. Deck 7, Bay 3, he said. Take your pod. Leave my ship. As Mana and Moscow moved carefully past the Krill warriors, the commander spoke again. I will not make the mistake of underestimating humans again. Mauna paused at the corridor junction. Good. Because the next time we meet, Commander, I won't need an implant. I'll just need what those hundreds taught us. An hour later, safe in their escape pod and accelerating toward human space, Moscow finally asked the question. Did you really have a quantum destabilizer implant? Mauna grinned, her first genuine smile since their capture. No, but he'd killed hundreds of humans. Hundreds who had fought with everything they had, including suicide weapons. I just bet that at least one of them had mentioned something similar. Moscow laughed, a sound of pure relief and admiration. You bluffed a Krill commander with his own experience. Not a bluff, Mana said, her expression turning serious. A promise. Those hundreds he killed, they weren't practice for me, they were practice for every human who comes after. We learn, we adapt, and eventually we win. She looked out at the stars rushing past their viewport. That's what makes us human. We're not the strongest or the fastest, but we're the ones who turn every defeat into a lesson, every loss into fuel. Jarakesh thought he was collecting trophies. He was actually teaching us how to beat him. Moscow nodded, understanding. The HFY wasn't about one human being exceptional. It was about humanity itself, learning and growing with every challenge, every sacrifice, every small victory stolen from the jaws of defeat. So what do we do now? He asked. Mana smiled again, that dangerous smile that meant she was already planning the next impossible thing. Now, we make sure those hundreds didn't die for nothing. We take what we learned and we teach it to everyone else. Because next time a Krill commander says he's killed hundreds like us, we'll make damn sure he's telling the truth, and that it won't be enough.